Welcome, dear friends. How are you all? Today we are going to watch summer camp. At the beginning of the movie, we are shown a news in which it is being told that all the children who recently went to a summer camp in Spain, all are killed, and some American counselors are also being told here what and how happened to them. We will know later in the story, because the story goes a few days before here, where we see that one summer in Spain. There are 4 American counselors who have come to the camp for a few days to teach English language to the local children. The names of these 4 counselors are Will, Mitchell, Christy, and Antonio, out of which Will has been here before. But Antonio comes to this place every year, whereas Michelle and Christy have come to this camp for the first time. Out of which, if we talk about Christy, she is very rich. She has come here just for fun. Now, as soon as she comes here, Will and Antonio plays a game with Christy and Michelle, in which one will be blindfolded and will run ahead while his companion will follow him, showing the path. In this run, the person running ahead will also have his hands tied along with his eyes. That is, the game is all about trust, which Antonio has made everyone play, but the problem is that Christy does not like this game. She gets into an argument with Michelle about this, so Michelle puts her in the same situation, i.e. when Christy is blindfolded and hand-tied. Leaving her there, she sits in the car, and now Christy can't see anything. That's why she collides with a man while walking, who cuts the rope from Christy's hand, and when Christy opens her eyes, she sees that Will and Antonio have come here searching for her. That's why Christy takes the matter of cutting the rope of her hand as a joke and goes away. She thinks that one of these two must have untied her hand, whereas friends, her hand is someone else had opened it, and who he is a mystery. After this, all these people go towards the camp under the guidance of Antonio. Now, Antonio has been here many times before, so he knows everything about the route and the people. Next thing you know, these people come face to face with a crazy man who is not moving away in front of the car. He stands up and starts using toilet on the car, and this thing seems very strange to all 4 of them. And Bill is very angry. He also comes and goes out to teach that man a lesson, but then Antonio stops him and says that, look, there is no time to do all this here. After this, another boy comes near the window of their car and demands money. Ignoring this, they all move ahead because Antonio does not want to take any trouble. Then Antonio tells about these people and says that he had come here earlier also, and I had seen their army. They were just taking drugs, etc. all day long. They keep doing this. They even tamper with the pipeline of the water that comes to the camp. Since then, there is no water coming in it, and hearing all this, Christy gets upset again because she is used to living in such a place. There was no water, and now tell me, there will not even be water for bathing. This thing further spoils his mind, however. After reaching the camp, Michelle explains to him that everything will be fine. We will have to live well with each other, and this they become friends again. Shortly after reaching the camp, Antonio sees Michelle sitting outside alone and goes to her and tells her everything about the place. He also tells Michelle that the last time when he came here, he was having an affair with 2 girls at the same time. So I am telling you to just stay away from him, because at that time there was a lot of uproar because of this, and also he took Michelle to the park here. He takes him to see a place where there are many animals like rabbits, goats, etc. along with 2 dogs. Now the caretaker of this place is Javier, who tells Antonio that the female dog among the 2 does not know what has happened to her. I don't know what kind of behavior she is behaving. She has become quite aggressive. Then by now, Will and Christy have also come to see that female, and in order to impress the girls, Phil goes near that dock. However, everyone is constantly stopping him not to go there. But this idiot had no idea that the female dog will attack him too. She catches the dog's hand in her jaws, and when she does not leave the hole, Xavier is forced to do so. Will has to kill him by cutting his throat, and then Will's life is saved. Now Antonio asks Christy to take the injection, after which everyone starts going back. Then suddenly the water, which was not coming, comes. And everyone is very happy to see that Antonio turns on the spinning water tap to improve the atmosphere, due to which water spreads all around. Seeing this, everyone is very happy and remembers what had happened some time ago. Everyone forgets, but during dinner at night, who knows what happens to Antonio? He comes and attacks Will, whom Bill tries to stop, but Antonio has become the enemy of his life, and in this situation, to save himself, Phil accidentally kills Antonio, from whom some black blood comes out. Now friends, what happened to Antonio suddenly? We too do not understand like a force, because if it is because of that female dog, if it had happened, then it should have happened to Antonio, or else it should have happened to Will. Whatever would have happened, if we move ahead in the story, then after hearing the sound of the fight between these 2, Christine comes towards him to see what happened. Seeing the weapon in Christy's hand and Antonio's dead body in front of her, she realizes that Val just killed Antonio. Here Val tries to convince her, but Christy doesn't listen to him, and runs away from there straight to Michelle. She asks Will to start the car and also tells what he saw. Michelle was not able to understand anything, but still she starts the car, but then Will comes and knocks on the car window, and he asks her to understand. Try didn't do anything, but Christy shouted badly and told Michelle to go immediately, who obeyed Christy and started the car and moved ahead, leaving both of them to Will. Now suddenly on the way ahead, Michelle Pollan gets into Michelle's eyes, due to which she starts looking into his eyes for a while, then controls herself and drives away. But in the next moment, I don't know what happens to Michelle. She comes out with a black face just like Antonio's. She starts drawing blood and then suddenly attacks Christy. Seeing her attack, it seems that she wants to kill Christy completely. Black blood is coming out of Michelle's mouth, and she starts attacking Christy like crazy. Wants to end it, but because Michelle was wearing a seatbelt, Christy escapes from her clutches and comes out of the car. But Michelle also comes out of the car and pounces on Christy again. Then Will comes there, who is Michelle, tries to stop Michelle, and seeing Will there, Christy gets scared and runs away even though Will had come there to help her. Will somehow manages to handle Michelle, and suddenly Michelle becomes unconscious. Will then slowly checks Michelle's pulse. She is still alive, and to make sure Michelle doesn't get up again and attack Will or anyone else, Will ties Michelle up with his seatbelt. He is about to tie it with a ribbon when suddenly Michelle wakes up again, and Will somehow saves himself and runs away from there. Friends, now because Michelle was wearing a seatbelt, she is not able to catch the force. After this, the scene ends. It's towards Christy, who enters a house, and then Will comes running there, with Michelle trailing him completely. Will quickly comes inside with Christy and closes the door, but on the contrary, Christy is afraid of him. She thinks that he will kill me too because he had killed Antonio. Then Will says that, look, whatever happened to Michelle, the same happened to Antonio too. He has become thirsty for my blood. That's why I had to kill him in self-defense. Christy also notices that till now Will has not tried to kill her, so she believes him, and now Michelle comes in from nowhere. Both of them close all the windows and doors, but Michelle climbs up to the balcony with the help of a pipe. Seeing this, Bill runs away from there. Then when Michelle is unable to enter the house from the balcony, she comes down again, and here Christy encounters a man. Friends, he is the same man who freed Christy's hand at the beginning of the movie. At that time, Christy was blindfolded and she was completely alone. So this man, despite the refusal of Christy and Will, goes out, and as soon as he leaves, Michelle pounces on him and kills him badly. Seeing this scene, Vel closes the door and also comes up with a master plan in his mind with which he can stop Michelle. Vel tells Christy that to do the work, you become the bait, so that Michelle will attack you and I will kill her and make her unconscious, because killing her would not be a good idea. Now at first Christy does not agree, but on Will's request she agrees. Then Will takes Michelle aside. He calls out inside, and Michelle also comes inside, in front of whom is Creedy. Michelle runs straight towards Creedy, and Christy locks herself in a room. But suddenly Michelle doesn't know what happens. She becomes normal and goes from the other side, and tries to ask Christy what had just happened here. But Christy is very scared. She becomes even more scared of Michelle, but this changed form of Michelle. Will had noticed, however, Christy locks Michelle in the room, and she also gets angry at Will that why didn't you save me? Will says that Michelle seems normal to me now. Meanwhile, Michelle screamed while slamming the door. She leaves and tells Will not to do anything to Christy, but Will decides to keep it off for now because Misha neither remembers what he did a moment ago nor understands anything. Let's find out what happened. If we talk about Christy, she is only thinking about herself, whether anyone dies or lives. After this, Val goes straight to Christy to explain to her. He gives Christy courage and tries to get out of here. He says, listen, there is no network here, but if you come to some network and inform the police, then we can be saved because I heard the voices of some other people in the forest, probably like Michelle and Antonio. They may be affected, but here Christy is not feeling well. That is why Bill starts carrying her on his shoulders. Then suddenly Christy also turns into an animal like Michelle, and as soon as she changes, the first thing she does is bite the force, because Will picks her up and throws her. But now Christy had changed, she gets up and follows Will. Then she hears Michelle's voice, who tries to break the lock of the door with the drilling machine, but the lock does not open. Seeing Bill coming towards him, Creedy pushes him away and goes to get Michelle out. He is trying to break the door with his foot, but Michelle, thinking him to be a killer, hits him with a drilling machine on his leg, which hurts Bill a lot. In all this, his glasses also get broken due to which he cannot see well. And when Michelle comes again to pay the bill, Bill stops her and tells her everything except that there's a man lying dead outside and Michelle did not kill him. Some time ago, meanwhile, Krish in the form of Devil arrives there, seeing which Michelle runs away carrying the injured Will, and these people run away. They reach the same animal farm that Antonio had shown to Michelle, but after locking the farm from all sides, Will and Michelle start wondering what is happening to them. Meanwhile, Michelle bandages Will's leg. She does it and Will also drinks water. Then he sees that there are police all around. So he thinks that this is happening because of the police because he was bitten by an affected dog, but nothing happened to Will. Now the big problem is to check whether this is happening because of the police or not. For this, Wilk feeds pollen along with grass to rocks, but nothing happens to him. But a dog tied nearby goes completely crazy and starts barking at Will. Will sees that the dog has just drank water, after which this happens. Then Ball remembers that he has also drunk water. So he first locks Michelle at a place, and while locking will also change his friends, who has now become thirsty for Michelle's blood. Michelle also hears Christy's voice from outside, and Will, before changing and becoming an animal, had also given his phone to Michelle. Michelle thinks that is, if the door is open and Will and Christy are facing each other, then I can easily get out of here. That is why she opens the door, but Christy comes inside and instead of attacking Will, joins him, meaning the affected person is not affected by another affected person. But do not attack. Both of them together somehow come inside to Michelle, but Michelle finally escapes from there through a passage in time. Now outside near the water pipe, Michelle sees a special kind of mushroom, but then she finds it with force. A voice comes which was looking for her. Friends, in the meantime Christy has also recovered, who as soon as she regains consciousness, seeing this form of Will, quietly goes the other way. Here Michelle calls 911 but does not get the phone. Then she connects to Jaber and tells everything. He says, "I will be there right away, don't worry." Michelle also talks to her mother. Meanwhile, suddenly Michelle gets a call back from 911. Hearing the voice of which Will helps her, she comes to the side and then seeing Will coming, Michelle throws the mobile on the other side where Christy was hiding, and seeing Christy, Will goes after her. Now because friends Christy was absolutely fine, so Christy runs to a place and hides. Wilka, as I told you, her glasses were broken so she couldn't see anything, but at that very moment Jaber comes there, whom Val sees and pounces on her. Now she sees them fighting the mission, and then Christy comes from behind, and considering each other as a threat, both of them start fighting. However, after some time, their misunderstanding gets resolved. Meanwhile, after killing Javert, Will also gets cured. As soon as Jock regains consciousness, he asks who killed Javert in reply. Michelle says, "I killed him now because you are also fine, then you have to somehow find a highway and get out of here. And remember, neither we have to drink water, nor come in contact with him." All three now move ahead together. When the people go ahead, they find a big army. These are the same drug addicts that they met in the beginning. All three of them go one by one to the army, where there are a lot of chemicals and the same blue mushrooms that are found near broken water pipes. Michelle had seen Christy start looking for the keys to the RV so they could get out of here, and then inside the junk, they find a boy who was hiding here. He tells Bill in Spanish that my whole family is crazy, and now everyone has become thirsty for my blood. Bill asks what kind of experiment are you guys doing here, and their conversation also reveals that the man whom Michelle had killed was the father of this boy. When asked, he tells that we were experimenting by mixing some chemicals with mushrooms, and father planted the mushrooms by breaking water pipes so that they could get water and they could keep growing. We chose this place because there was no one in this camp, but now this thing has turned everyone into animals. Meanwhile, Kisty does not find the key, but this boy's family attacks from everywhere. Meanwhile, seeing 3 mushrooms, Michelle gets an idea that the 3 of us let's eat them, and with this we will also change, so that these people will not attack us, and at the same time we will be cured. Don't know what kind of idea this is, friends. And now Michelle and will stop the affected people coming from outside, and Christy is asked to bring mushrooms. She gives one to Will, and in her haste she drops the other 2, of which she gets only 1. Now instead of eating them in half, Christy herself eats the whole mushroom, and poor thing, Michelle gets badly trapped and is attacked by Will and Christy themselves after changing, and Michelle's story ends here. In the next scene, we see Will waking up, and it is morning. Christy has also come to her senses. They are stunned to see Michelle's dead body there. Now both of them go towards the summer camp so that they can contact the embassy and get out of here, but it doesn't take long for Will to understand that Michelle has definitely been betrayed by Christy, And when Will asks Christy, she tells him everything. Will gets very angry at her, and before he can say anything to Christy, he hears the sound of a bus honking. These are actually the children who were supposed to come to the camp. Seeing all the children, Christy will somehow stop them from going near the water. But then suddenly the water pipe expands completely, meaning, like it happened before, water sprays spread all around and the children enjoy it. Seeing this thing, Will and Christy run away from there, but now all the children have become affected, and they chase them, during which Christy dies after being pierced by a sharp stick. And as for Will, his other glasses also fall. He gets lost, after which he is surrounded and killed by the affected children, meaning everyone is killed. That is why we were shown the news of his death in the beginning of the movie. And this is where, friends, the movie ends. I know you would have liked the movie. Stay tuned in the next video. And finally, thanks for watching.